Bob Mason from FX Empire, and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Ripple's XRP. Looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, days support, resistance, pivot levels, and the Fibonacci's. It is Thursday, the 25th of March. Looking at Bitcoin against the US dollar and the outer candlesticks, relatively bullish start to the day. Going to need to see Bitcoin move through the pivot at 53,687 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 55,853. We'll need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break back through to 55,000 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance of 56,000 to cap any upside. In the event of a broad-based crypto rebound, Bitcoin could test resistance at 60,000 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 59,853. Getting to move through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 5163 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should stay clear of the 23.6% fib at 48,082. The second major support level sits at 47,997. Looking at the MACDs, a slight narrowing of the bearish histogram, but nothing indicative of a bullish morning ahead, so need to keep an eye on that. On the EMA's bearish indicator with the 50 pulling further back from the 100 and the 200. So key through the early part of the day, move through the pivot at 53,687 and back through to 55,000 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failures to do that and support levels are in play. Looking across Ethereum against the US dollar, also relatively positive start to the day. Going to need to see Ethereum move through the pivot at 1624 to take a run at the first major resistance level at 1699. We'll need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break out from 1650 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 1740.91 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, could see Ethereum test resistance at 1800 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 1815. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the 23.6% fib at 1579 and the first major support level at 1508 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should stay clear of 1450s. Second major support level sits at 1433. Looking at the MACD, we have a slight narrowing of the bearish histogram, but nothing suggestive of a bullish morning ahead, so keep an eye on that. On the EMA's also bearish indicator, 50s pulled further back from the 100 and the 200, suggestive of a further downside ahead. So keep through the morning, move through the pivot at 1624 and back through to 1650 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failures to do that and support levels are in play. Across to Litecoin against US dollar, also slightly bullish start to the day. Going to see Litecoin move through the pivot at 182 to take a run at the first major resistance level, saying at 191. You need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break back through to 190s. Barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and the 23.6% fib at 195 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Litecoin test resistance at 200s before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 206. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 167 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should stay clear of the second major support level at 157. The 38.2% fib at 163 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACDs, with a widening of the bearish histograms at the turn of the day, suggesting a further downside ahead. On the EMAs, also bearish with the 50 pulling further back from the 100 and the 200. So failure to move through the pivot at 182 would bring support levels into play. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, bullish start to the day here. Going to need to Ripple's XRP move through the pivot at 0.4984 to take a run at the 23.6% fib at 0.5320 and the first major resistance level at 0.5435. We'll need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break back through to 0.5 levels, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and the 23.6% fib to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, should see Ripple's XRP test resistance at yesterday's high, that was at 0.5626 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 0.6078. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the 38.2% fib at 0.4632 and the first major support level at 0.4341 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should stay clear of sub 0.40 levels. Second major support level sits at 0.3890. Looking at the MACD, slight narrowing of the bearish histograms, but nothing suggestive of a recovery through the morning, so keep an eye on that. On the EMAs, the 50s closing in on the 100 and the 200, which is also a bearish indicator, so look out for a possible bearish cross. So keep through the early part of the day, move through the pivot at 0.4984 and back through to 0.5 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels will be in play.